So today, on June 29th, 2026, marks the 10-year anniversary since I started animating. So I feel like it's only fitting now to tell you all why and how I started animating. I'll always be just me. Animation always inspired me ever since I was a little boy. And just like many of you guys, I grew up watching cartoons like SpongeBob, Kim Possible, Codename, Kids Next Door, VeggieTales, and the list goes on. Now, I've been making content ever since I was really young. I remember my brothers and I used to make a lot of videos when we were younger. Now, I'll put some of them on the screen if I can find them. So, for years, I always been making content. But fast forward to 2007 or 2008, I forgot which year specifically. I found this one website and this one creator that inspired me, or the first person inspired me to do animation. But we'll get back to him and that website later. And keep in mind, back in the late 90s and early 2000s, most of this internet stuff was still new to the general public. So eventually I got the idea to make my own YouTube channel. Now originally I thought of some ideas like doing Nerf videos like CXCock97 or videos like SML or Stash Bros. I never really thought of animation in the beginning. So I asked my parents if it's okay to make a YouTube channel and they said no. And my parents did have good reasons, like one, since YouTube at the time was relatively new, they wanted me to wait till I got a little bit older. Since the World Wide Web, I bet y'all haven't heard that term in a long time. But since the World Wide Web was relatively new to the average consumer, my parents wanted us to be safe on the internet and not get into something bad in the future. Eventually I did thought about doing animation, but that was a couple years after my father said no. And my personal reasons why I never pursued animation when I was younger. Because at the time, getting animation softwares was really hard due to a lot of loopholes or it was expensive. Two, my family and I really didn't have a lot of finances at the time. And even if I did find a way to get a software for free, my parents were really strict of us downloading things on their computer. Because they didn't want my siblings and I to get any viruses on their computer, which fair enough. Though due to a lot of reasons, the thought of me becoming an animator basically became a distant memory. Fast forward to a couple years later, my brothers and I joined a homeschool group. Now to be honest, I never really brought up the fact that I was homeschooled most of my life. I think I brought this up in like 1 or 2 videos, but not really a lot. But anywho, at this homeschool group, I remember meeting this one girl. Now, to avoid saying her real name, I want to call her Darcy. Now, for the first couple weeks of the school year, I just noticed her by herself alone. Everyone else was talking, having fun, but she was always by herself. So I noticed this, and eventually I decided to start talking to her. Now, she didn't open up to me at first. To be honest, I think it took like a couple weeks or like a month for her to finally feel comfortable around me. Yeah, she was extremely shy. Probably one of the shyest girls I ever met. And I'm not trying to sound harsh if she ever sees this video. But after a month or two finally getting to know her, I finally asked her the question of why, besides me or your siblings or my sibling, why do no one want to talk to you or hang out with you? I remember me saying that, and after I said that, she stopped and got sad for a second. But she eventually told me this.
Well, you see, most people don't want to talk or hang out with me because they think I'm weird and creepy. I tried to make friends in the past, Samuel, even at the homeschool group. But every time I tried, I always seemed to push people away. So besides me being with my siblings, that's why I'm usually by myself. And now I just feel like that's how it has to be from now on.
So me being the type of person that I am, of course, felt really bad for her and continued to be there for her more. So fast forward like a month or two later, she went up to me and asked me if it's okay I can hang out with her that day because she wanted to show me something. Now of course I was going to hang out with her regardless, so this really wasn't a big deal with me. When we both sat down, but then she proceeds to reach into her backpack and pull out her Nintendo DS. It was this one program on Nintendo DS, if I'm remembering what it's called, it was called Flipnotes. Now Flipnotes was a software that you can use to animate on your Nintendo DS. She showed me a lot of animations that she made, but most of the animations that she made was dealing with Five Nights at Freddy's. Now I was familiar with that series because it was very popular during that time. I mostly really know the series because of Mr. and Mrs. Patrick, or most of you guys better know them as Matt, Pat, and Steph. It kinda sucks that him and his wife retired though. And I know what some of you may be wondering, bro, it's been a couple years, not let it go! I've been following both of them since Sonic was slow or Chun-Li can fly. So let me be sad, okay? Her showing me her animations really reminded me on how I wanted to do animation when I was younger. And during that time, I just saw a bunch of content creators on YouTube starting to do animation as well. And all that happening really just fueled the desire of me actually wanting to start learning animation again. And to make long story short, me and Darcy did eventually lose contact with each other. Even though I was sad that we lost contact with each other, but it was actually for the better, because eventually she met her future husband and they actually got married a couple years ago. And I'm not gonna lie, I actually met her husband and talked to her husband a couple times, and he's a really dope guy. And you know, I'm really happy for both of them. Eventually, a couple months or I believe a year later, I forgot the specifics, my parents helped me get my first computer. Now the one thing I realized about my computer, it was not very powerful. Now I'll put the specs and all that stuff on the screen, but without getting super technical with everybody, my computer was basically at the power level of a Wii U and an Xbox 360. I think a little bit worse than one of them anyway. Eventually I found a way to get the animated software I wanted when I was younger, and I started animating on June 29th, 2016. And that is the story of how I became an animator. Ha 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 ha, yeah, the video's not over. Remember how I said at the beginning of the video I was gonna go back to like one creator or something like that? Yeah, I think it's time to bring him up. So I'm pretty sure most of you guys probably know what Super Mario Bros. Z is. But just in case you don't know, Super Mario Bros. Z is an animated crossover series made by Mark Haynes that combine characters from the Super Mario Bros. Series and Sonic the Hedgehog series, with elements of course, the Dragon Ball series. So growing up, my brothers and I really didn't have a lot of Nintendo or Sega consoles, so I believe this was the first or one of the first exposures for us for the Mario and Sonic series. Now my brothers and I knew about Dragon Ball, but we just didn't grow up with it like some people did. Now the series started out on Newgrounds. My brothers and I found the series on a different website. I honestly forgot the name of the website because it's been over a decade. So basically the synopsis of the series, that Mario, Sonic, and the gang have to collect the 7 Chaos Emeralds before Mecha Sonic, one of Eggman's creations, get it first. So basically just Dragon Ball. Sadly, he never finished the series due to personal reasons. Eventually, he did decide to reboot the series, only for Nintendo to be Nintendo for a little while. I'm going to try to put all his links in the description box. And even though this is a fan-made series, he does work hard on his craft. So if you're wondering why most of my early animations were sprite-based, that's why. So coming to a close, I just want to say thank you for everyone that inspired me to do and learn animation. And even if you've been following me for years or just recently, I appreciate the support regardless. So I hope y'all enjoyed the story of how I became an animator. And I hope all who watch this have a great day.